and how difficult their schedule was going to be, and how tight some of these games were going to be, and how, what is obvious to all of us is that for some reason they just can't finish. They can't finish and win a game. And there are these stretches that go on, whether it be mid-third quarter, early fourth quarter, where they just dip, and the other team just tries to run them out of the building. But they always hang around. So they do have the culture is back. I believe that the pride and the toughness and all the things that you saw in the 90s Knicks is finally back with Thibodeau. There's no question about that. But, who is the finisher? Who's the guy that's going to take the last shot? Who's going to win the close game? That's what's really missing for the Knicks, if you ask me. And unfortunately, Obi Toppin has not found his game at all. He is a major, major project in the works. And I feel bad for that kid because he missed out on his last year's tournament run. He was the NCAA Player of the Year, and he just never got to finish it off. And now he gets thrust into the NBA, and it's a pandemic year, and I don't know. It just has not come together for him. He just looks like he's lost. But on the other side, R.J. Barrett looks great.
He's continued to get better.
He looks great, and Julius Randle still continues to play well. But there's just that one or two things that is missing. And, Thibodeau knows what it is more than I would know what it is. But, to lose like the Minnesota by 2 points, the Boston by 2 points, the fight tooth and nail with Brooklyn, and then to end up losing to them without the big three. I mean, it's just one frustrating loss after the next. They're close. And, I don't want to sit here like it's been so bad for so long that you just want to say, okay, at least they're in every game. They're fighting their asses off. They very rarely ever get blown out. I mean, the games are entertaining. The fourth quarters are entertaining, albeit the last few fourth quarters have been really, really destructive fourth quarters in the sense that you want them to win so bad, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't happen for them. So I feel bad for them, but we knew their schedule was going to be tougher. But, that's a game last night you have to win. The game against Minnesota you had to win. I mean, those are games that ultimately, keep you rising in the playoffs. And now instead of rising, they're dropping. And, they've lost, like I said, 5 out of their last 6. And this is not a good trend. And that's why their next game is going to be so pivotal. And somehow, some way, they've got to win. And Thibodeau, part of the culture changing is not allowing, losing 5 out of the last 6.
Yeah, and I am in this tug of war with myself and my Knicks fandom. And one side is tugging, saying, hell, this is so much better than it's been. And every single night, they're competing their ass off in these games, and you never thought that this would happen this quickly with this group. And no matter how this season goes, this is a win. And look at the way that R.J. Barrett has developed. I mean, he's hitting every three he takes last night. He has been unbelievable, and Julius Randle is positive things. And then the other tug of war is, man, they should be better than even they are. You look at
close.
They're so close. There's so many of these games that they could have won at the end, and you think that how special this season, it still could be, but could have been if they had won a handful of these games at the end. So I'm going back and forth with that, and I end up more on the side of, all right, don't get too greedy too quick, because what has happened this season is borderline miraculous from where they came from just a season ago.
So from our perspective, what we see is a marked improvement in effort. We see better players. We see more determined players. We see high-character players. We see all the players that are listening to the coach. That's what we see. And for me, that's one of the biggest hurdles you have to get over, and you have to establish something that used to be called Knick pride. And that has been reestablished. I really feel like that. Maybe they're missing a player or two. And
they need more talent, of course.
I know, but
everybody does.
I remember we were talking about the trading deadline and also the free agent signings after the buyouts and all that other stuff. And we were like, I don't really want to mess with this team. I want this team to see if they can do it themselves.
It should have been messed with.
No, I still feel like I want them to earn it themselves. I really do. I mean, I have to say, it's a likable group of guys.
Sure.
And the coach is likable. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
So it is so different from, say, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I'm frustrated for them. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for us because, we're sitting there and we're frustrated for them and we're fans and we want them to win. But there's no question that there's definitely an improvement. And this offseason is going to be a mammoth offseason for them. Again, just like last year was, and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. And now this year they got to go back to the well again and see if they can make something happen by adding another piece to this team. And then they have to decide really ultimately what are they going to do with Julius Randle. What do you do with Julius Randle?
Well, I think that you sign him, you keep him, and you pay him at this point.
I just want to ask you an honest answer from you, and I always get an honest answer from you.
Well, sometimes I joke around when you ask me these questions.
Yes, but I really want an honest answer to you. Are you giving him a max deal?
I am, yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. Well, you said that very confidently.
No, this is, and maybe, I'm not saying that I'm right about this, but from my perspective as a Knicks fan, this guy means so much to me because he has given me the feelings that I haven't had for so many years. And to see him play his ass off, your computer's still not working?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
How many times? Eddie last week said, they put in a couple tickets.
Hey, Al, let's go. Let's pick it up. Let's get something done around here. It's day 2 back. Let's go.
Did you put in a couple of tickets, Eddie, or not? What's a couple of tickets anyway?
For Boomer's computer?
Yeah.
I don't know where that stands.
Is there an IT person that still exists in this building?
IT is rarely here. The engineers are here, but they're not IT.
Why would IT rarely be here when we are here working with computers? Do you have an answer for that?
I do not.
Okay.
I mean, we're guys that have computers on our desks. Probably need an IT guy, right?
Still not working.
I mean, look
3
at this
weeks.
thing.
And then the monitor's now gone, too.
Yeah, and that's like, no boot device available.
Yeah.
No boot device available.
No boot message.
The old
new
boot message.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Press F5 to run onboard diagnostics. All right,
yeah,
so
let's
press
do that.
F5. Okay,
well, let's diagnose.
Run a level 1 diagnostic.
Okay, so we got some reboot system assessment built diagnostics going on. Anyway, diagnosing the Knicks again. You know, I just like Julius has played himself into that contract. If you had to put him, is he a top 10 player in the NBA?
He's a top 20 player right now. He's not a top 10 player.
All right. So
it's top 20.
They have to add a top 10 player.
I agree. Yes, I think now how they're getting that guy, I'm not so sure.
So they got to get a point. They got to, I don't know. Quickly will be a lot better next year. There's no question about it. He's already been good this year. I mean, he's been a revelation, if you ask me. I know that R.J. Barrett has ascended to becoming maybe the most improved player in the league. I understand all that, but. Quickly is going to be a significant part of this team next year, and he's going to be a lot better because he'll understand the game a lot more and how quick the game is and how fast the players are and where you can go, what you can do. And, and his shooting, was pretty good this year. And maybe it will be even better next year. So what do the Knicks need? Like do they need a point guard?
Yes,
like a top-end point guard?
I think they need a top-end facilitating point guard and someone who obviously can score. But someone who can get the best of what's on this roster. And quite frankly, I think part of the reason why Obi Toppin struggles a little bit is because that guy hasn't existed for him yet in the NBA. And if there is someone who is really thinking, I am floor general, I am pass first, but of course I can score, and I'm going to get the best out of make everybody better, that type of guy. And that doesn't even need to be a top 10 player in the NBA, but the Knicks need that type of player. And, of course, adding a top 10 player in the NBA to any roster is going to significantly change the look of it. So how they get that guy and who that guy is what I've been asking now for months.
But, at what position? Like, when Mitchell Robinson is out there and, again, he's missing, probably not going to see him the rest of the year, and you could see the energy and everything that he was when he came back. And that's a big loss for them. That is a huge loss for them. And they were able to kind of withstand the initial throes of the first time.
Yeah.
With Nerlens Noel was playing well and doing his thing on defense, and he was a rim protector, all that kind of nonsense. But when they got Mitchell back, it was like, okay, now we got depth. Now we got guys that can go, right after each other and do the same thing and become the same kind of presence that you want. So that injury, the foot injury, just killed them.
Yeah, and when you ask at what position, the NBA has changed so much now, and there's just so much fluidity that goes on that I would think that you bring in anybody who is that type of caliber, it ends up working. It just does. Look at the Nets, for crying out loud. They just bring in talent. Doesn't matter who's playing. Doesn't matter who's sitting. It's just insanity. And you think, how's it going to work? How's it going to work with all these guys? There's only one basketball. And then all of a sudden they do what they do.
They have 3 of the top 10 players in the league.
I know, but that's just an example.
James Harden has adjusted his game.
But him and Kyrie both needed the ball.
No, but James Harden adjusted his game, and
that's
I think
my point.
And the other point too is Kyrie's adjusted his game a little bit. Like he'll facilitate now too, but and then you add LaMarcus Aldridge and you add Blake Griffin. Everybody's gonna they all know why they're here. They're here to try to win a championship. So it's a totally different perspective. Like the Knicks are still trying to find their way into the playoffs, where the Nets. All of this is nonsense. Like, the regular season is nothing for them.
Well, I was going to bring this up. So if the Nets go and win an NBA title this year, do we officially say that the NBA regular season is completely meaningless? Like, it's on life support right now. I think that if the Nets go and win a championship, you can officially say that the NBA regular season means absolutely nothing. At all, not one bit.
Well, I think if the Lakers go on to win a championship, you can say that because they are missing their big 2, and they are falling in the standings. So if they have to play in the play-in series,
but these guys never play with one another. The Nets,
yeah, I know that, but
sort of the same thing.
But there's going to be a big gap between the time Anthony Davis and LeBron come back for the Lakers. As opposed to, there's always been like one of these guys out there. I think there's been only one game where they haven't had one of these guys on the court. In that game, they got blown out somewhere. I forget where it was, about 4 or 5 games ago. But now, it seems like there's either 2 of them on the court or there's at least one of them on the court. And Harden is so damn good that he can actually win games by himself. Yeah, I mean, he will. And see, this is the thing. Harden, during the regular season anyway, I'm not talking about the playoffs now. We'll wait until we get there. But during the regular season anyway, he will hit the game-winning shot.
So I think that there's, and if you do the math,
our guys are missing the game-winning shot.
Well, they have 3 guys that can hit the game-winning shot.
But Harden hits the game-winning shot.
Yeah, and you have the other 2 guys who have won championships doing exactly that too. James Harden for sure in the regular season, but Irving has one of the biggest shots the biggest shot in Cleveland sports history. It is Kyrie Irving. It's not even LeBron James. But anyway. I think that the Nets probably, let's say the big 3 play 15 games together in the regular season when it's all said and done, depending when James Harden comes back. If that's on the high end, 15 games together, and then they get together and just cruise through the playoffs and blow everybody out, what's the point? Just cancel the regular season.
Then if it's the Nets and the Lakers in the final, then I would agree with you. Because you have both teams that have been missing their star players for a significant amount of time, and both teams happen to be in the championship. And as far as the Aaron Judge thing is concerned, I mean, I've never seen a injury described like this. His left side.
Yeah, we're starting to see that type of stuff now.
It's his left side.
His left side.
Left side of what?
Well, it's gonna right here. That's where your left side is.
So it's a rib cage. It's a rib cage.
It's gonna be his oblique. Is what it's gonna be.
The oblique.
Now I know Aaron Boone said no, not his oblique, just soreness in his left side. Well, that will turn into an oblique. See, this is the problem. You have no choice but to be cynical when you hear this stuff because we've gone through it so many times with the Yankees. And you have Aaron Boone talking about, well, it's a precautionary measure. We're just trying to make sure that we're getting him some rest and off his feet. And then he had allergies a couple days ago. It's always something. I don't believe him anymore. And with Aaron Judge, he'll be gone for 2 months. If he comes back and plays, it's a shock to me in the next week or so. It would be, because this is the same trajectory every time with the guy. Wow. And you want to talk about paying someone? The Julius Randle conversation that you just had?
Right, yes.
Apply that same conversation to Aaron Judge, and what are you doing?
How about Gary Sanchez?
Well, let's not.
Well, at least he's coming out. At least he's playing well. At least he's hitting the ball.
Yeah, I know, but you got
you're
long way to go with that.
Totally down.
Long way to go with that.
I can't believe how down you are with him.
Long way to go. Yeah, and Gleyber Torres, it's now in his head. Shortstop.
Right. So you want to go to the Met opener today?
I can't. I'm sorry.
What do you mean you can't? It's Met opener.
Yeah, I understand it's the Met opener. I can't. I've got many appointments. I will have the game on. It was very crucial to me to get television going yesterday.
And you got it going?
And I got it going, and I'll have the game on as I have people coming in and out of the house and talking to them. Hey, do your thing over there. Bang, bang, bang. You know how it goes.
So the move went all right.
It did, yes. So there's stuff in the house now, just all in different places and in boxes, and it's overwhelming, and the dogs are really confused. I feel bad for the dogs because they're older. You know, they're in the twilight.
The latter stages.
The latter stages of their life, and they're so confused. And when you have a dog for a long time, you know everything, what they're feeling, and their face. And they're looking at me like, what are we doing? What happened? Why did you do this? And I'm feeling guilty about it. So I'm trying to get everything that smells like the old house in front of them, you know, trying to do all of that. But when I brought Ella, who's my bulldog with the inside-out vagina, I brought her from the Bellport house to Sayville, and she sat next to me in the car. And the whole time she's just staring at me, like just blaming me. You know,
what
like,
are you doing?
like I trusted you, you know? And now you're ripping me out of this home that I thought I was going to be in for the rest of my life, and you're bringing me to this foreign environment. And I'm old. And I've had this
I just don't want to
guilt.
Move, you know, yeah.
I have this guilt about it, but I'm like, I couldn't not move because of the dogs. I mean, this was an opportunity in this house, and we love it. But I'm struggling with that a little bit. I feel guilty. And their stomachs are all messed up, two of them. Now and I read something about this, that with a move gets them, like, upset. So they're passing gas. So the house, when people walk in, smells like dog farts. It's a strange thing. But poor Ella and Romeo. And, you know, Romeo's had all those surgeries on his leg, the little Yorkie.
Yes.
You know, and it's new floors and everything. And they're
slippery.
So it's like ice skating out there. He gets on the hardwood. You know, his legs going this way. I'm like, don't pop a hit, man. Please don't. I don't have another $6,000 laying around to fix your knee. I just don't anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was the whole thing. And like today before I left, and I don't know, because maybe ever since Al had that dog whisperer talk to him and Whimsy.
Yeah.
So I'm having conversations with the dog. I don't know if it's working. But before I left today, you know, I got down face to face with Ella because she was up and confused. Normally when I leave the house, she's totally asleep because she's comfortable. But now she's not comfortable. She doesn't know what's going on. And I get right up to her face, and I'm talking to her, saying, this is where we live now, and we love you, and it's okay, and we're going to be here, and we're going to be here with you, and we're not going to leave you. Like, I'm talking to her as if she understands and can speak English.
Well, maybe she does. You never know.
Is this crazy? That's what's going on, these poor dogs. I mean, Ella sneezed and farted at the same time yesterday. I'd never seen that before. She was like, I said, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this to you.
So I was going to ask Al about this yesterday, and I never got to it. But now I'll ask him this morning. So when you got home to see Whimsy, how did that go? And were you able to watch her during the show?
I looked at her at like 4:30 in the morning from here, and she was fine. She was sleeping. And then Gina took her for a walk at like 8 o'clock, and Gina sent me a lot of updated photos and videos, and all was good. Whimsy was looking for me in my car. She went to my parking spot and was looking like, what's going on here? And then, she gave me sort of a sad, dirty look this morning when I left.
The guilt, man.
See, you know, we talk about human mental health. But think about all the people, you know, trying to go back to work. We saw some of the people coming back here yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, some people going back to work. I know the city employees are supposedly going back to work early May 1st or whatever the date is. And all those people that have dogs at home that you've been with for 24/7 for the last 365 so days.
I know.
So now you have dog health, mental health that you have to worry about, or just animals in general, whatever you have as a pet.
Right, because birds, they say even they get upset if you leave them alone. They start pulling their feathers out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like parrots and things. Like if they're used to having you in the house and all of a sudden you go back to work, they'll start pulling feathers out of their bodies.
That bums me out, man.
This is why you get so mad at these damn politicians, man.
So
am I shutting stuff down, and then when you shut stuff down, then you open stuff back up? Look what happens.
Yeah, sure. Am I doing the right thing by talking to Ella? Is that doing anything for her?
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely.
It is? All right. Because I was also thinking, am I wasting my time when I'm on my knees looking her in the face and talking to her? Like, is this a total waste?
Now, is she old enough? I mean,
She's going to be 11.
I know, but is she in
yeah.
good shape to go for a walk?
Oh,
and stuff?
yeah.
I think you got to take her out for a nice walk today. And
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, get her. And she loves the sun. She
Oh,
does. She
put
just
her right
loves,
in the
soaks
sun.
it up, and she puts her big head up. She loves soaking up the sun. So
There you go.
We'll be able to do that. One thing I just noticed about Al, I'm picking up on, when he puts that gator up, his posture changes. Like he feels like he has to use his entire body to keep the gator on his face. Did you notice this?
Yeah, no, I've noticed doing it because otherwise it just falls right below my nose.
He walks in like a scarecrow because he's like saying he walked in yesterday. He's like, hey, did you guys do that live read with the...
It's like I'm wearing a neck brace.
I know.
Because otherwise it falls right off my nose.
So he's doing
So you got to keep your head at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
I just didn't know if you like pulled your back out or something or something I needed to know.
I feel like when Andy Kaufman was wrestling in the 70s and he would
Jerry Lawler.
and he would have the neck brace on.
and he'd walk around like
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.